नमस्कार दोस्तों, वेलकम टू यू ऑल on Exampur IAS English medium. Today we are going to discuss rocks of the geomorphology section. Okay, welcome to Soumya, Mradul. How was the question, Soumya, in the Exampur IAS PCS channel? Are you getting a voice, Mradul? Voice is audible or not? Is it audible? So let us start today's class. Okay. Yes. Today we are going to discuss rocks. In Hindi it is called Chattan. So first of all, we will get the knowledge about what is the rocks, what are the definition, and then we'll go for the classification of the rocks, like igneous, sedimentary, and the metamorphic. So firstly, we are get the knowledge what is rocks, how we say, or first of all, what is rock? So it is solid part of lithosphere which contains minerals. You can see the minerals are found in rocks, strata. Okay, so here you can see the firstly 0 to 100 kilometer part, that is so called the lithosphere. This one is called the lithosphere, and this is the harder part of the outermost part of the Earth's interior. So rocks is a solid part of, it is solid part of lithosphere which contains minerals. Okay, this is the first point about the rocks. And now you see the several points about the rocks I have brought down from NCERT. Okay, so these are the points given in NCERT. So the materials of the crust or lithosphere are generally called as a rock. These are the points from the NCERT, because I have seen the several questions of the rock system arises from the NCERT. So here is the point, the materials of the crust or lithosphere. What we say, the crust and the lithosphere. Lithosphere consisting of the crust and the upper mantle. Lithosphere consisting of crust plus upper mantle. Okay. Next, the earth is composed of various kinds of elements. Okay. Then about 90% of the total crust is made up of 8 elements as oxygen. You should remember this thing. Oxygen, silicon, aluminum, iron, calcium, sodium, potassium, and magnesium. So in soil, you can see the 24 types of elements are found, or minerals are found in a soil. Okay, and here you are seeing that 98% of the total crust is made up of the 8 elements as oxygen, silicon, aluminum, iron, calcium, sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Rocks may be hard or soft and in various colors. Okay, and in various colors. Welcome to Subhasini on Exampur IAS English medium. And today we are going to discuss, we are discussing here the rocks. Okay. Then several points about the rocks is there. The feldspar and the quartz are the most common minerals found in all type of the rocks. It has asked in IAS exam. Okay. The science dealing with the study of rocks is called what? The petrology. So what is the science dealing with the study of the rocks? That is so called the petrology. Okay. Next, the sedimentary rocks are found maximum in surface. I want to repeat one sentence here. Around 78% part of surface is made up of sedimentary rocks. Is made up of sedimentary rocks. Always remember. Okay. 78% part of surface made up of sedimentary rocks. Igneous rocks are found maximum in crust. Igneous rocks are found maximum in crust. Okay. Now we are going to discuss the classification of rocks. Classification of rocks. Okay. So there are three kind of rocks are there: the igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. What about the division criteria? So rocks differ in their properties, the size of particles, and the mode of formations. So different rocks can be derived with a different process of formation and their size of particles and their properties. Okay. Then on the basis of mode of formation, rocks may be classified into three categories. So what about the formation? The mode of formation. Through the mode of formation, we can classify the rock system into three parts. The first one is igneous rocks, second one is sedimentary rocks, third one is metamorphic rocks. Now firstly, we are going to discuss how the igneous rocks has formed. What about their features? Okay, come. So the first point about the igneous rocks. How it formed. So you see, beneath the surface, when the magma has formed, and by the cooling of that magma, and after the cooling process, the solidification of that magma region, the formation of igneous rocks. Igneous means the light, the fire. Okay. So inside, the beneath of surface, there is a magma, and when it reaches to the earth's surface, it will call the lava. It will call the lava. So igneous rocks is formed by the cooling and solidification process occurs over magma and lava. Okay, igneous rocks is formed by cooling and solidification process. Cooling and solidification process occurs over magma or lava. So the igneous rocks is formed through the cooling and solidification process occurs over the magma or lava, the simply. So, and this one is the surface. So if magma comes over the surface, it is called the lava. And if it is beneath the earth's surface, it is called the magma. So what about the process? The cooling and the solidification process. Cooling and the solidification process. Okay, let's see. Firstly, you see, there are the three kind of rocks: the igneous, the sedimentary, and the metamorphic. Igneous, having a crystals. Sedimentary, there is a lack of crystals. Again, there is a metamorphic. Okay. Now come to the several points about the igneous rocks. It is a crystalline rocks. It is crystalline rocks. So crystals are found in these rocks. There is absent of layers. Okay. Layers are not found in igneous rocks. Absent of layers. Then it doesn't contains fossils. It doesn't contains fossils. Then it is a harder rock. Minerals are found in these rocks. Minerals are found in these rocks. Then water doesn't permeable in these rocks. Water doesn't permeable in these rocks. Water doesn't permeable in these rocks. Okay. Welcome to Suman Yadav on UPSC Exampur IAS English Medium. Igneous rocks having several features. So first of all, how it forms? It is formed by the cooling and solidification process occurs over magma or lava. It is crystalline rocks, and the absent of layers is there. It doesn't contain the fossils. It is the harder rocks. The minerals are found, and the water doesn't permeable in these rocks. Now we are going to discuss what about the questions arises in UPSC. What about the size of grains or a size of crystals? So let's see. We are seeing through this picture. So this is the extrusive igneous rocks and the intrusive igneous rocks are there. Extrusive and the intrusive igneous rocks we are seeing here. So extrusive igneous rocks having a connection or connects with the atmosphere, so it's cool quickly, and as a result these rocks are fine grained or has lack of crystal growth. While you can see the intrusive igneous rocks are formed from magma that cools slowly, and as a result these rocks are coarse grained. So if the igneous rocks formed through the magma, it's just because it is beneath the Earth's surface, so it cools slowly. Okay, it cools slowly, and so there is a coarse grain, larger size of grains. Here you can see the coarse grain. Okay, and the magma reaches to the Earth's surface. Comes over the Earth's surface. It's connecting with the atmosphere, so it cools fastly. So here you can see it cools quickly or fastly. When it cools quickly, there is a fine grain. There is a fine grain are found. Okay. Timing. Okay. Is it clear? Then again, one more point. Here it is surface. The magma cools down the Earth's surface from magma. It cools slowly, so there is a fine of coarse grain, and also the magma are of acidic or basic in nature. So now we are going to discuss the basic and acidic lava. Okay. So here we have just discussed the intrusive igneous rocks, and the extrusive igneous rocks. Extrusive. So extrusive igneous rocks forms by the lava, and here you can see the fine grained, a smaller size of crystals, and here you can see the coarse grained, the larger size of crystals. Okay, now we are going to discuss the lava, acidic and basic. Acidic lava and basic lava. So acidic lava having maximum proportion of silica. Maximum proportion of silica. Here less proportion of silica. Less proportion of silica. So there are two kinds of lava, the acidic and the basic lava. Okay. Next, we are seeing here. So now we can see the several plutonic rocks and the hypervisual rocks. Okay, extrusive, intrusive are also there. Intrusive inside the Earth surface and extrusive are the over the Earth surface. So now in this slide we are seeing the extrusive, cooling time seconds to months, texture invisible to और microscopic grains होते हैं. Here you can see the intrusive, the cooling time thousands of years, texture is small to medium grains. And now we are seeing here the plutonics. The plutonic rocks, deep seated intrusive igneous rocks. Intrusive igneous rocks are called plutonic rocks. Like you see, sometimes the magma cools down at very deep depth, but sometimes magma cools down at middle path, and sometimes magma comes over the Earth's surface. So there are the three zones where the magma or lava cools down. So firstly we are seeing the deep seated, very deep side, and sometimes you can see at shallow depth. When magma cools down, it also forms the igneous rocks, but this one is so called what? The hypervisual rocks. So here you can see the hypervisual rocks. So there is plutonic rocks, intrusive rocks, extrusive rocks, and also there is at the middle path or some shallow depth of region, there you can find out the hypervisual rocks. Okay, there you can find out the hypervisual rocks. So what is extrusive, what is intrusive, what is hypervisual or a plutonic? You should also remember there are plutonics. So plutonics at very deep. Okay, like see, this one is extrusive, and here it is the intrusive. But in intrusive, you see this side is deep seated. This one is plutonic at very deep depth, and sometimes you see the magma is moving upwards and due to some circumstances it cools down and forms igneous rocks. So here you can the shallow depth at shallow depth it is hypervisual. It is called the hypervisual rocks. Okay. So that is the about the extrusive, intrusive, plutonic or hypervisual rocks. Now in the next slide we are going to see the several formation of or a shape of igneous rocks. It is seen in a volcanic landforms, plutons and the volcanic landforms. So now you see the magma comes out as a lava from the volcano. So there is a volcanic cone, there is a volcanic pipe. This is the volcanic pipe and this one is the magma chamber. You see this side is the magma chamber. By which the magma is moving upwards and coming out. So these are the plutons, plutonic rocks, and this is the batholith. When you can't see the base of the rock, that is so called the batholith. So this structure is called the batholith. When it cools down and becomes the igneous rocks, so this would be called what? Batholith. You can't see the base of these rocks. Batholith. Okay. Then again, you see there is a laccolith. Laccolith. There is a dome shape structure. There is a dome shape structure of the igneous rocks. It is called the laccolith. Dome shaped. Dome shaped structure. When the structure becomes like here, a disc. When a structure becomes like a disc, it is called the lopolith. It is called the lopolith. When the magma cools down in a vertical way, then it is called the dike. And if it cools down the horizontal way, it is called the seal. Here it is called the seal. Okay. So there is a seal dike. And sometimes magma cools down in a waves mode. Like this, if magma cools down like this structure, so this would be called the phacolith. This would be called the phacolith. So there is batholith, laccolith, lopolith, phacolith, seal and dike are the structure which is found in the volcanic landforms. Lopolith having a shape of the disc, एक तस्तरी जैसा तस्तरी नुमा आकृति यहाँ पर देखने को मिलेगा. गुंबदाकार डोम शेप्ड हो जाएगा. Phacolith तरंग नुमा हो जाएगा, waves like shape. And if the magma cools down in a horizontal way, it is called the seal. It is called the seal. But here it is, you can see the seal. Here it is the dike. This is called dike in a vertical way. So that is the formation of landforms of volcanic landforms through the cooling and solidification of the magma or lava. So by the lava there is a formation of the volcanic cone. So it is formed by the lava. It is formed by the lava and these are formed by the magma. These are formed by the magma. So these are the intrusive igneous rocks and here it is the extrusive igneous rocks. Intrusive or extrusive igneous rocks. Okay. Very warm welcome, Amisha Saxena ji. So these are the igneous rocks. And what about the types of igneous rocks? Or examples? Examples of igneous rocks. What do you think? Granite, basalt, gabbro, pyritite. Granite, basalt, gabbro, pyritite. These are the examples of igneous rocks. Like you can see the granite. So granite, the maximum proportion of silica is here. In granite, the maximum proportion of silica. Maximum proportion of silica. It's having a light color and it's having a light mass. Both are light. It's just because the silica is proportion of silica is maximum there. So the granite. What about the basalt? So we are seeing here in basalt less proportion of silica, less proportion of silica, presence of ferromagnesium are found in this. Ferromagnesium are present. So this will become darker in color and heavier in mass. Darker in color and heavier in mass. Darker in color and heavier in mass. Okay, darker in color and heavier in mass. Soumya, exactly when the magma has cooled and solidified beneath the Earth's surface, it is the intrusive igneous rocks, and when it comes over the Earth's surface, it is called the lava. So magma is called lava when it comes to the reach to the Earth's surface. So when it will cool and solidified, then it is called the extrusive igneous rocks. Okay, extrusive igneous rocks. So in this picture we are seeing here, here it is the extrusive and here it is the intrusive igneous rock. So these are also we learned in a intrusive igneous rock segment, and also it is the volcanic landforms. So volcano is what? So there is a eruption of lava, and lava comes from where? From the magma chamber. And igneous rocks formed by the cooling and solidification process occurs over the magma or the lava. So that is the primary rocks. Igneous rocks is primary rocks. It is primary rocks. It is primary rocks. And you see the metals like gold, manganese, these elements, copper will found, you can see, in the zone of igneous rocks. Okay, the zone of igneous rocks. So these are the some examples of the igneous rocks, and you should remember also the granite and the basalt. So granite is made up of what? The solidification of the magma or lava, but it's having a maximum proportion of silica, color would be light and the mass would be light. So you can see the continental crust has made up of granitic rock. Continental crust has made up by granitic rocks, while you can see the oceanic crust as made up by basaltic rocks. Okay. So these are the igneous rocks. Soumya, Mradul, Amisa. Okay. Next. Next, we are going to discuss sedimentary rocks. How the sedimentary rocks has formed, we are going to discuss here. And these are the secondary rocks. It is secondary rocks. Like, see what? We will take an example of Himalaya, where you can see the sedimentary rocks are formed. And again, you can see in a greater Himalaya, the metamorphic rocks are also found. So, we are going to discuss the sedimentary and the metamorphic, both. Firstly, come to the sediment, that is the secondary rocks. Then how it will be formed? So, firstly, we are seeing here that there is a formation of igneous rocks. There is a formation of igneous rocks. So, igneous rocks are there, the primary rocks is there. Then you see that due to the temperature variations in the days and the nights, in the summer and the winter, when the maximum temperature reaches to this surface or a rock surface, it will expand because of the temperature. When the temperature increases, the object expanding. You have read it in physics. When temperature increases, it expands. While the temperature decreases, it contracts. So, for the several times when it expands and contracts, then you can see there is a formation of a crack. Then you can see the formation of crack is there. When the crack has developed, later on, constantly when this process occurs for the several period of time, then you can see the cracks becomes a fracture. And then the substance of this part has rolling above the slopes and reach to the foothills region or a ground region, and then it will called what? The sediments. When it reaches to this place, and during the sliding region, it will also divide it into several parts, and then it can reach to the surface, where it will be called what? The sediments. Now we are saying it what? The sediments of Saad. So at you have seen them in a mountainous region, due to the impact of weathering and erosion process. So here we are saying the weathering and erosion process occurs above the igneous rocks. Like firstly we have seen what? There is a igneous rock, and then we are seeing here the weathering and erosion process occurs over this surface, and then there is a process going on in which you can see the firstly the crack will happen, then it will becomes a fracture, and then this there the substance will move down to the earth surface, and during the sloping areas, it will also divide into several parts. Okay, so lastly remains the sediments. So here we are going to discuss one more concept, that is the denudation. You must write down this point. Denudation comprises both process. The weathering would be the physical or a chemical both. In physical weathering, we are seeing just because of the increasing of temperature, the crack has developed in the rock strata, and then the fracture will happen, and the part of that region has moved down. Okay, and in a chemical weathering, we are seeing when the water has entered into the rocks strata, like in a limestone region, so they will also made a crack there. So here it is a denudation process, combined effect of weathering and erosion. Combined effect of weathering and erosion are called the denudation process. So firstly, the sediments has reached to the surface, and then it will be moved out from one place to another place by the erosional factors, and that is the winds, the periglacial, the glacial, the oceanic currents, the rivers, the running water will move this particular substance to the another place. Soumya, yeah, sure. You can ask what you have doubt. Okay. So now we have got the ideas the where the sediments comes from. Okay, where the sediments comes from, and now we are going to make sedimentary rocks, the concept of sedimentary rocks. Let's see. This is a trench region or a shallow deep region of oceanic body. Okay. Now there is a water body, but we are seeing here it is the sediments, and it is carries by the erosional factors, that is the rivers, winds, glacial. These will carry those sediments from this place to that. Now we are seeing here this sediments is coming to this side, and it will be soluble in water, and then it will solidified. Now you see, in a different era, in a different period of time, different type of sediments are coming to this side. Or now we are seeing this. Then again, a sedimentation process is occurring in this region. We are seeing here sedimentation process. Sedimentation process is occurring here, this region, like see, and this region has totally filled by the sediments. So now we are seeing here the sedimentation. Firstly, the sedimentation process occurs in this region. What is happened? The sedimentation process occurs in this region, and then you see, because of the plates is moving, or when the weight increases inside the part, then you see temperature will increase. It will increase the temperature. So temperature will increase, and because of the increasing temperature, there is a process will held, that is so called the lithification. Now we are seeing here the lithification process are now occurs over this region. Lithification process. Soumya, a Himalaya of sedimentation. Yeah, definitely, like a sedimentation process occurs in a Tethys Sea. Like if we are talking about the Himalaya, so this will become a geosyncline. This will become a geosyncline, a water body, or a shallow depth, shallow deep, and long narrow water body is called the geosyncline. So in geosyncline region, or the namely you can see as an example, there is a Tethys Sea. There is a Tethys Sea, and then we can given the example of this side the Eurasian plate and this side the what? The Indo-Australian plate. Okay. But the Soumya has asked the how salinity formed inside the ocean. So I have explained in our last class that's the in Atlantic Ocean there is a maximum breaking of rocks nearby the region of the mid-Atlantic region. Okay. Soumya special is here. What I have said, कि salinity of ocean increases. Salinity of ocean increases. Hey, how? ऐसे कैसे हो गया? Now it is okay. I think now it is okay. So Soumya special questions is this how the ocean salinized. So in ocean there is a breaking of rocks and just because of breaking of rocks the salt particles will release from the rocks. Okay. Amisha Saxena. It's all your efforts. I am trying my best to explain whole things in English because this channel is oriented for the English medium students. Okay. So, Soumya, we have seen it in the Atlantic Ocean. There is a mid-Atlantic ridge and the regular time it was divided into several rock system like this. So the breaking of rocks, the salt particles releases and then it will be dissolved in the oceanic water and it increases the salinity. Okay. Now we are coming for again our sedimentary rocks. So here we are seeing the sedimentation process occurs firstly and then we are seeing the temperature has increases because of the conversion plate margin. And because the temperature is increases, the lithification process will occur. Lithification process will occur. And now you see. There is a folded mountain has formed. Folded mountain has formed in which we are seeing sedimentary rocks are formed. Sedimentary rocks are formed. So now we can see, or if you know about the Aravalli, Vindhyan and Satpura, those are considered as a residual mountain. So why the Aravalli, Vindhyan and Satpuras are referred as a residual mountain? At a time when the Aravalli was having a height of more than 9,000 meters, but at present scenario you are seeing Aravalli having a maximum height of 1722 meter in Guru Shikhar, Sirohi district, Rajasthan. Okay, so where the rocks portion has gone, so those are the sediments and that was carried through the rivers and deposited in the Tethys Sea. And because of the sedimentation, lithification process and the conversion plate margin, these sediments uplifted. Okay, so Karthik, now we are seeing here in folded mountain, an example, it is the Himalaya. There is a sedimentary rocks are found. Now we see कि some remnant part of biotic things are there, and it was also carried by the rivers and deposited in this Tethys Sea. So you can see there is a fossils are also in Himalayas. You can see the fossils are found. So write down several sentences also. Firstly, write down the definition of sedimentary rocks and how it formed. So sedimentary rocks has formed by the sedimentation process occurs for long period. You can write down the sentence what we have explained here. Ki sedimentary rocks has formed by the sedimentation process occurs for long period. Thereafter, compressional force has actively worked. Thereafter, compressional force has actively worked, and through this lithification process has occurred. It's magic. And through this lithification process has occurred. Okay. And through this lithification process has occurred. Again, there was a problem of zoom out. Okay. Now we are seeing here, these are the brittle rock. These are the brittle rock. Here you can see the strata. Now you can see the layers are found in these rocks. Layers are found in these rocks. Or a present of a strata. Layers are found. Again, it contains fossils. It contains fossils. Then जादू तो नहीं है यहां. ठीक. Then we see it contains fossils. Next, oil and gases, minerals are found in these rocks. In minerals, you can see the coal. Coal will found in sedimentary rocks. We will discuss it in examples. Then so firstly, it is brittle rock. Layers are found. It contains fossils, oil and gases. Water is permeable in these rocks. Water is permeable. So the water strata are found within the sedimentary rocks. Okay. It happens with me only, Soumya. Okay. So what about some other features or an example? So example of sandstone. Example, you can write down the sandstone, the limestone, coal, shale. These are the examples. And now we are going for some other part. You see, depending upon the mode of formation, they are classified into several types. The first one is mechanically formed, organically formed, and then the chemically formed. So there are three types of sedimentary rocks, and it is derived through the mode of formation. So we are seeing somehow several sedimentary rocks formed through the mechanically. Somehow you can see some sedimentary rocks formed through organically and some chemically. Sedimentation process is the only reason of sediments, rocks, either any other physical or a geographic reason also. Yeah, exactly. Mradul, anywhere on the Earth's surface, you will see the sedimentary rocks are found in those regions where the sedimentation process occurs in a geosyncline regions. Okay, and there is a also formation of a folded mountain. Okay, so here we are seeing the examples. So through the mechanically formed sandstone, conglomerate, limestone, shale and loess mechanically, यंत्रवत जिसको हम लोग कहते हैं. So loess was formed by the particles, the sand particles carried through the winds and deposited in the lowest region. Now organically, कार्बनिक रूप से geocerite, chalk, limestone, coal. Chemically, the chert, limestone, halite, potash, etc. Chert. So these are an example of sedimentary rocks. Next, organically formed sedimentary rocks have defined here. The remains of plants and animals are buried under sediments, and due to heat and pressure from overlying layers, their composition undergoes a change. Okay. So this is how the organically sedimentary rocks has formed. Coal and limestone are well-known examples of the sedimentary rocks. So this is also important point. What we are seeing here, the remnants of the plants and the animals are buried under the sediments, and due to heat and pressure from overlying layers, their composition undergoes a change. Okay. Now here you can see the calcareous or carbonaceous. So in the calcareous, we are seeing that dolomite, limestone, chalk, and in carbonaceous, the coal. The coal. Okay. Next, we are moving to metamorphic rock. Metamorphic rock. So you see, it is formed by the thermal and dynamic process occurs above the igneous or sedimentary rocks. Yes, sure, Soumya, definitely. But the current affairs is going on our channel on Exampur IAS PCS. Daily current affairs are going on. So formed by thermal and dynamic process. Thermal and dynamic process. Like see, in this slide. There are the types of the metamorphism process, the contact metamorphism and the regional metamorphism. So firstly, we are going to explain how the thermal metamorphism works and the dynamic metamorphism works. is complete कर लेते हैं. Occurs above igneous or sedimentary rocks. ठीक है. Like see कि here it is the zone of limestone. Here it is the zone of limestone, and somehow a magma has penetrated into this region. Magma has formed. So just because of the impact of increasing temperature of this region, here you can see the limestone, and the nearby region of the this limestone zone, it becomes what? Converted into marble. So because of the intense heating, through the magma which has penetrated in this region, the textures and the properties of the limestone has changed and it has becomes the marble. So limestone converted into marble through the excessive temperature, because of excessive temperature. So that is the thermal process. Limestone converted into marble. Okay, limestone converted into marble. Then one more. Like you see, this one is Greater Himalaya. Here it is lesser, and this one is Shivalik. Okay, and these are the conversion plate margin. Here it is the conversion plate margin. So here we are seeing the dynamic process. In dynamic process, the movements of plates is going on here. Movements of plates is there. So just because of the compressional force, there is also a increasing of temperature. Temperature increases here. And because of the temperature is increasing in this region, the sedimentary rocks of Greater Himalaya converted into the metamorphic rocks. So in Greater Himalaya, there is a metamorphic rocks are found. Only the Greater Himalaya, not in the lesser the Shivalik, because it has formed later. Okay, so metamorphic rocks are only found in Greater Himalaya, and it was formed by the dynamic process because of the conversion plate margin region are there. Okay, you can see it in this figure also. Here you are seeing the contact metamorphism. You are seeing the intrusion of magma. Just because of the intrusion of magma, the temperature will increase, and because of the increasing temperature, the nature and the texture or the properties of rocks has changed, and it becomes a metamorphic rocks. In this side, you are seeing the regional metamorphism, in which you are seeing the convergent plate margin are there, and because of the increasing temperature, again the metamorphized rocks are there. Okay, like you can see in a dynamic metamorphism, what I have explained, it is showing in this picture. Dynamic metamorphism also occurs because of the mountain building. Okay. Then the examples of metamorphism. The questions arise from this side. Here you have to put rocks. This side is metamorphic rocks. Rocks and the metamorphic rocks. Here you can see the granite, basalt, gabbro. These are the igneous rocks. These are the igneous rocks. Now granite converted into gneiss, basalt converted into amphibolite, gabbro converted into serpentine. Okay. Now the sedimentary rocks, the coal, limestone, sandstone, shale. These are the sedimentary. These are the sedimentary rocks. And now the metamorphized type, coal converted into graphite and diamond. Graphite and diamond. Limestone converted into marble. Sandstone converted into quartzite. And shale converted into slate. So these are the metamorphic rocks. These are the metamorphic rocks. And now we see the slate converted into the phyllite, and phyllite converted into schist. So these are the remetamorphic rocks. Remetamorphic rocks. Okay. So these are an examples of metamorphic rocks. The questions arise from the examples also. And the features, so this would be the harder rock also. Or again you see the hardest rock, that is the quartzite. Quartzite. Hardest rock. Quartzite is hardest rock. Okay. So write down these and examples are here. Okay. And the last one, the rock cycle. This is the rock cycle. Firstly, the igneous rocks, the primary rocks, has formed by the magma. Crystallization process occurs and the igneous rocks has formed. Okay. Again, the igneous rocks weathered and eroded and deposited and forms the sedimentation, the secondary. Then we are seeing here the igneous rocks again melt due to the heat and pressure. So melt, it becomes a magma. Igneous rocks melt and it becomes a magma, and because of the heat and pressure, the igneous rocks has becomes a metamorphic rocks also, and this one is the tertiary rocks. Here we are seeing also the sedimentary rocks, like see, the weathering and erosion and deposition by the sediments has formed. Firstly, the sediments has formed. Okay, sediments has formed, and by the compaction and cementation. So by the compaction and cementation, the sedimentary rocks has formed. That is the secondary. Okay, here it is the sediments only, not the sedimentary rocks. And because of the heat and pressure, sedimentary rocks converted into metamorphic rocks. So metamorphic rocks, again the weathering and erosion or a deposition process becomes the sediments, and this will become the sedimentary rocks. Metamorphic rocks, by the melting, it will becomes the magma. Or also the sedimentary rocks, by melting, it becomes the magma. So this is a process in which we are seeing the formation of the igneous, and by the weathering, erosion and the deposition occurs the formation of sedimentation, and by the heat and pressure, when the heat and pressure occurs above the igneous or sedimentary rocks, it becomes the metamorphic. So this is the rock cycle. You should remember. Okay. Is there any doubt? So metamorphic process occurs by the heat and pressure. Okay. So that is all about the rocks. The questions, if arise in UPSC or UPPSC, you should be able to solve all questions, and through this class you must be able to solve. Okay. सौम्या, मृदुल, अमीसा. आज की क्लास को यहीं तक रखते हैं, फिर नेक्स्ट क्लास में कुछ नए टॉपिक के साथ मूव करेंगे. आप में से कुछ बच्चों को एग्जाम भी देना है, तो आपके लिए मैं ना इंडियन ज्योग्राफी कुछ टॉपिक करवाना चाहूंगा. इंडियन ज्योग्राफी टॉपिक करवाने में बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है, क्योंकि वहां से ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस बनेंगे आपको. सो आई विल सेलेक्ट द सेवरल टॉपिक्स विच इज एन इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर दिस टाइम प्रीलिम्स ऑल्सो, और उस टॉपिक को हम लोग कवर करते हैं. ठीक है. सो आज के लिए इतना ही रखते हैं, फिर मुलाकात होती है कल सुबह 11 बजे. तब तक के लिए नमस्कार, धन्यवाद.